What's up guys, Yaron from EcomXFactor here, and in this video I'm going to share with you the basic foundations every e-commerce store owner needs to know about how to use Google Analytics. I know many of you don't want to play or analyze anything on Google Analytics. Many e-commerce store owners and dropshippers are kind of afraid of Google Analytics and don't see why Google Analytics is so important for them. So I decided to create this video which is going to go over all the basic stuff you need to know, how you can analyze the data, how you can see the way customers behave in your store, how you can improve your conversion rates, how you can do a split test, everything you need to know as an e-commerce store owner about Google Analytics. Stick until the end of the video because I'm going to share with you something very cool for free only to the viewers of this video, which I'm sure will be very helpful and will very much improve your skill set and your learning curve regarding Google Analytics. So I hope you enjoy this video. Obviously, like always, if you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comment section or just email our support team. One of the experts from EcomXFactor would be glad to help. We truly believe that Google Analytics is very important, so this is why we decided to create this video. Please enjoy the video. Oh, and if you like the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the like button below. Thank you very much. Enjoy. For those of you who don't know, this is the Google Analytics dashboard. As you can see, it contains a few different sections, which we are talking about also in the ebook that we have released, an ebook about the beginner's guide to Google Analytics. And what we'll do today is just go over all the sections in Google Analytics. Obviously, you have to get to know this, you have to play with the platform and get to know this tool, but it's a very important tool and it's a very powerful tool. At the beginning, when you don't have a lot of traffic, you might not need to use this, and even people who are more advanced don't use Google Analytics well enough. They don't leverage the data, they don't do enough split tests, and they don't experiment and don't analyze enough. And I think this is something very crucial. If you can improve your conversion rates or your retention or your AOV with very small quick wins by changing something small and increasing the AOV by 10 cents or increasing the conversion rates by 0.5%, it can mean a huge amount of profit and a huge improvement in your business overall. So this is why analysis and leveraging Google Analytics tools is so important. Okay, so first things first, this is a Google Analytics demo account in which the data is generated by Google, and we are going to use this in order to convey a few ideas. So the first section is the real-time section. In the real-time section, you can see what's going on in your store, where are the people visiting your store, where are they from, which active pages are rich, where are the visitors at the moment in which active pages, what is the distribution of mobile and desktop users, and stuff like that. You can also see the locations. As I said, this is auto-generated, this is not real data, but you can see where exactly the data coming from if you're targeting worldwide or if you're targeting tier 1 countries, so you can see exactly what is the distribution. You can see what are the traffic sources, you can see the medium, and you can see the source. For those of you who don't know what is a medium and what is a source, I suggest Googling later UTMs. Medium and source basically are a way to attribute traffic to certain channels. So for example, a medium here is organic. So you know that the traffic came from organic and the source of the traffic is Google. Another example is the medium is a referral. It's traffic that was referred from somewhere, and the source is this website, which I don't really know it, but it's just an idea. The source can be an affiliate or a different website or whatever. Another medium which can be is CPC, and then you know it's was sent from Google or from Bing ads or whatever. Another type of medium can be social, and then you know the traffic is a social. It's traffic that was generated by a social channel, and the source you just use. If you use Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, or Twitter, you know what exactly is the source. The way that you use this is you do use this by using UTMs, and UTMs are a chain of data that you add after the link. So for example here, let me show you. This is from the current link that I entered at the moment. Let's go here. So I copied this link, and as you see, analytics google.com analytics/web, and this is the UTM. So for every link that you have, every ad, every link directing to your store or to your pages, you should add these UTMs, and you're going to add question mark UTM source, and you're going to write for example social, then and UTM medium, you're going to write Facebook, and then you can also write and UTM campaign, you're going to write the campaign name or the content or which ad generated the traffic. So this way, once you added the UTMs to all of your links, when you analyze the data in Google, you'll be able to further understand which traffic is doing well, which traffic is shit, and you need to reduce the spend. So using UTMs is highly, highly important. In the real-time report, it's not as interesting, for me, it's not as interesting as in the acquisition reports, but we'll dive into this in a moment. Afterwards, you have the content. You can take a look exactly where are current visitors, where are they at the moment, which are the active pages, events, and obviously conversions. The next report is the audience report. This is becoming interesting. You can see here exactly based on a time frame that you choose. You can see based on a time frame that you choose. Let's say we choose last week. We can also compare this to the last week, to the week before. So let's say, for example, yesterday. We can also compare the data to 2 days ago. But let's stick to the example of last month with no comparison. You can also choose if you want to compare to a specific period. So let's say I ran ads during November before Black Friday. So I want to compare the data from this Black Friday to last Black Friday. So I'm just going to select compare to. But let's close this because I want to show you the idea of seeing the data from the last month. And over here you can see exactly the data from the last month, all the users. You can choose if you want to see the data about the users. You can choose if you want to see a bounce rate, the amount of sessions, page views, stuff like that. You can see also the languages, a lot of stuff. You can see which browsers, operating system, etc. But a very interesting thing that I like watching is creating different segments. So let's say you want to see only for mobile traffic. So you can do this, and now you're going to see data only related to mobile traffic. Let's say you want to compare mobile traffic with desktop traffic or tablet and desktop traffic. So you can add these two, and then you see the bounce rate of the tablets against the bounce rate of the mobile. what I like doing here is adding revenue and conversion rate, and then you can see the conversion rate which each platform is producing you. So a lot of times you'll see that the mobile traffic is producing lower conversion rates but higher revenue, and the desktop traffic is producing better conversions. So what you can do, you just try, or you can try optimize your mobile view, or you can drive more traffic using only desktop, so targeting only desktop in Facebook or Google Ads. So here you can see it on an hourly basis. You can see the breakdown on a weekly basis. And obviously, the thing that is very interesting here at the moment, because it's a demo account, you only see the bounce rate, and you see we can choose another metric, which is the sessions. But once you start creating goals, which I'm going to talk about later, and adding events, so you can choose stuff that is more interesting, like AOV. You can choose to compare the conversion rates or the revenue or whatever. Let's just choose another type of breakdown. Another very interesting breakdown that I like doing is returning traffic, returning users, and new users. Why this breakdown is important? Because if normally returning users, we have a higher ROAS, higher conversion rates with returning users, and also a lot of time higher AOV. So I like to distinguish between the new users and the returning users. So let's say I'm doing now a split test, or I've changed something, and it's very interesting to see how this change affected the new users, not the returning user. Because let's say a split test, a lot of old users came to the original page, so they are kind of messing up the traffic, the data, because once we have also returning users, that they elevate the conversion rates, so it's not so, the data we get is not so relevant, because the returning users are elevating the conversion rates. So if you split test, it's better, for me, in my opinion, a lot of times it's better to distinguish between the returning users, which are already convinced, already know you, already trust you because they already bought from you, and the new users. So this is an interesting distinction that you want to do. Also, if you suddenly feel that in the last few weeks your conversion rates are becoming lower, so you now need to check the distribution between returning users and new users. Maybe you've increased your acquisition efforts and now you have a lot more new users. So obviously the conversion rates are going to be lower, because if you have, let's say, 100 people in your website, and normally you have 20 people returning customers and 80 people are new users. So the conversion rate is 5%. But now, it's after a week, you decided you want to increase your efforts and do only acquisition, no remarketing. So obviously your conversion rates are going to be lower, but you need to see if the conversion rates for the new users, you need to compare apples to apples. So you need to compare the conversion rates of the new users to the conversion rates of the new users currently. So it's not correct to take a look at the conversion rate as a whole, because if the distribution between the returning customers and the new users change, so obviously the conversion rates are going to be affected. I hope you get this idea. Obviously, it might seem a bit complex and complicated for you at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. Once you start playing with this and you evolve your analytics skills, you get what I'm talking about the importance of comparing apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and using different segments, returning users, new users. Sometimes I even do a double breakdown. So I take a look at new users that are desktop, and new users that are mobile. And if you don't have this segment here from the get-go, so you can create a new segment. So you just go over here and you can choose, if you want to choose, you can choose by age, you can choose by technology, the browser vision, the traffic sources. Basically, you can do a lot of different stuff. You can also choose only returning customers, only customers with a certain AOV. It's very easy. You just add the name, test, only young customers, for example, and let's say age, only these, and only male, 18 to 34, and I save this, and I've created a segment which is going to be saved, and I can use it all the time whenever I log into my Google Analytics. So this is the overview of the audience. In this section, you also have the active users. You can see a breakdown of the active users. Let's just remove the segments. Once you remove all the segments, so it's automatically it shows the segment of all users. By the way, in the overview, you can also see a pie chart of different stuff like new users versus returning users. You can see here a lot of data, which once you also add goals like events, which I'll show in a different video or in this video later, you can also see a breakdown based on the goals. You can see the countries they are coming from, etc. Another interesting thing in the audience is obviously the overview of the demographics. You get different charts. You can see based on average session duration, based on e-commerce conversion rates, etc. There are a lot of stuff here. You just need to play with it and dive deeper into each one of them. But one thing I would like to show in this video is the user's flow. The user's flow is very interesting. It basically shows you for this timestamp how the users, what was the user's behavior in your website. So you can see a lot of them arrived from the US to the homepage, and then you can see data from all the people that went to the homepage, how many people left, exited, so it's 19K drop-offs, and 12,000 people went forward to a different page. And then you can see here to which exactly pages the people from the home went. So some people went to the store, some people went to this page, some people went to this page. And then from this page, you can see people that went from here, they went, a lot of them went to one of the pages over here, and some of them went to here. So you can see, you can actually see exactly the journey of a customer. Obviously in this particular demo account, so there's a lot of traffic and you don't really know what each page is, what is the significance of each page. So it kind of looks messy and complex, but in your website, so you probably don't have a lot of pages, so you'll see that a lot of customers, after they just landed in the product page, a lot obviously leave. Some of them go to the cart page, and some of them, they start flowing in your website. So some of them go to the FAQ. Some of them are going to go to the About Us page. Some are going to go to the collection page or the home page. And based on this journey, you can take actions. For example, I saw that a lot of my customers, they started in the product page. Some of them are obviously left, and some of them went to the cart page. But a lot of them also went to the FAQ page. So I thought to myself, okay, I don't want them to go to the FAQ page. If they are going to the FAQ page, so probably something isn't clear in my product page. And if they go to the FAQ page, it means that they have frictions, some sort of friction. So what I did, I decided to add a FAQ section to my product page. And I tested this, and this increased the conversion by, it was 0.7%. Just taking the FAQ from the page and copying and pasting it into the product page. So, and then after like a week, after not a week, after a month or so, I took a look in this users flow again, and I saw that the distribution, a lot more customers, instead of going to the FAQ, they continued to the checkout, to the cart page, and the amount of people that visited the FAQ section went much lower. So this is just an idea of something that, based on this graph, I was able to implement an improvement to my stores that increased my conversions, and because I drive a lot of traffic to my store on a daily basis, so even the 0.7 improvement in conversion was worth a lot of money for me. So I highly suggest that you take a look in the users flow. Obviously, you can also take a look only in the people. You can choose a segment and see only the users flow of the people who converted. Or you can choose only the flow of people that arrived from organic traffic. So the opportunities are endless. You can do a lot of stuff. You can basically spend hours over hours only in the users flow, and obviously in Google Analytics. Not that I suggest doing this, because it can become a bit of a waste of time at a certain point. We need to focus on what is important. I'm not suggesting this is not important, but you have to prioritize correctly your time. So this is the audience section. The next section is the acquisition section. The acquisition section speaks more about how, like, what are the traffic sources, what is the performance of each traffic source. So for example, we can take a look here and see all users, and now we can look each traffic source, what is the amount of conversion it was producing. So I'm going to hit sort by conversion, and then you see that the majority of, like, the biggest conversion is created by direct traffic, and then organic traffic, then paid search, then social, then referral, then affiliates, and then displays that don't produce any money. So if you see this in your store, so you know you should stop. So there are two options. Maybe your tracking isn't implemented correctly, or your display ads are shit, so you need to improve them. Obviously, in the social, you can also dive deeper and see each social network, how is it performing. So let's sort by purchases completed. This is not a good example because I don't have data here. But let's say we want to sort by the amount of users. So we can see that YouTube is generating the highest amount of users, afterwards Facebook, afterwards Quora, afterwards Hacker News, WikiHow, Reddit, etc. So in your case, what you would do, you would sort by conversion rates, or you would sort by revenue or AOV, and then see which social network is producing the best performance. You can see here, you can see they haven't, I don't think, let me see, shipping stage. So they don't have here the AOV, average order value. Let's see if they have it here. No, they don't have the AOV implemented here, but this is something that you can add. But I wanted to show you transaction days to transactions. This is also an interesting metric if you want to become like a real pro. So you can see each traffic source, how long did it take each traffic source to convert. So days to transaction. We went back to all the traffic source, and then we can see how many days it took for customers to convert in each traffic source. It's just something interesting that you can check out. Another thing is the source and medium. It's also a breakdown by source and medium of exactly the performance of each source. So the performance of your Facebook ads, the performance of your Pinterest ads, Snapchat ads, etc. You have here also a breakdown, a deeper breakdown of your Google ads. This is also relevant if you're running YouTube ads. If you're not running YouTube ads, you should start running YouTube ads. You should have started yesterday, but you can start today because for me, YouTube ads are generating really good ROAS. Let's close this, the acquisition. Behavior. So behavior is also, you can also get a lot of data about what's going on in your store, how customers are behaving, their behavior flow. But for me, the most important thing here, obviously you have the site content, you can see the site speed, the overview of each page timing, how long does it take, the average load time per browser, stuff like this. This is a very relevant for experts. I don't think it's so crucial for you at the moment. I don't use these reports. But one of the reports that one of the sections that I love is the all experiment section. So in this section, you have all the experiments, all the split tests that you've created with Google Optimize. And it's a section that puts together all the experiments that you did along the history, and you can then go back to the experiments or see the experiments that you're running at the moment and analyze the data and see which traffic is, which landing page or which funnel is producing better performance. So this is the experiment section in the behavior tab. And now we're in the conversion tab, which is, I guess it's the most important one. So in the conversion tab, you have all the e-commerce relevant stuff, like revenue, e-commerce conversion rates, transactions, average order value. So this is interesting. So let's do the same segments that I showed you before. Mobile. This is what I spoke about before. Let's do last month. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, you can see the average order value and conversion rates and amount of transactions per segment. So in blue is the all users, in orange it's the tablet and desktop, and in green is the mobile traffic. So you can see here that the AOV in tablet and desktop is much higher, but the conversion rate is lower. So this is something you need to take into account. Maybe the conversion rate, the desktop page or the tablet page needs to be optimized. You can obviously do even a deeper drill down and see if the conversion rate in the tablet sucks or in the desktop or in both of them. So you need to understand. But obviously you need to take a look at all the data and do this breakdown and see. Another example which I want to show you is, let's see, the returning versus new customers. And again, guys, the opportunities are endless. And I'm just showing you just a fraction of the stuff that I use in order to analyze. Returning users. If you're driving a lot of traffic, you have to get to know Google Analytics and you have to learn more about analyzing your data. So here it's interesting, you get the breakdown of the new users versus the returning users. So we see that the returning users are spending more money than the new users, and also the conversion rates for the returning users is higher. So this means that maybe we should spend more money in remarketing ads, taking a custom audience of all the people that bought from you, adding it to Facebook, and then remarketing to them, because you will see that the conversion rates in this segment are higher, and also the AOV is higher. So why not check this out? The shopping behavior tab, it gives you like more like a funnel overview of the conversion in your store. So you can see all the sessions with product views, sessions added to cart, how many people started checkout, and how many people at the end of the funnel really converted. This is interesting. You can also add here by countries, for example. So you can see like the conversion rate per country. So what I do when I use worldwide targeting, so I also do this report and I look by countries, which country is producing good conversion rates and good AOV relatively, and then I create campaigns that are specific for those countries. And then obviously the ROAS in those countries is going to be higher because maybe I found a country that is untapped, or the people in that country find my products to be very relevant, or the price seems good. So obviously you want to drive more traffic to countries that are producing good profits for you, and not just leaving it as a worldwide targeting for Facebook to decide, even though it might work, but I truly believe that you should do this drill down. And another thing that I'm doing a lot is once I see good performance from one country, and they are not native English speakers, so I go ahead and localize the product page or localize the store page. So I just go translate the whole funnel and create the funnel in the native language. So for example, if I see that there are good conversion rates, so almost good conversion rates from France, so I'm just going to create a funnel in French. The next tab is the checkout behavior. It's kind of similar to the shopping behavior. And there are a lot more stuff here, and you just need, this is like product performance. You can see the breakdown based on each product. Let's remove the returning and new users. You can see also the marketing, the use of coupons, the use of product-specific coupons, attribution, stuff like this, but this is less relevant for you guys, and I don't want to confuse you and bombard you with too much information. So this was just a quick and brief overview of Google Analytics. I know some of you might have not played with Google Analytics because it sounds like a bit scary, and also for me it took me a while until I started playing with Google Analytics. But since I started using Google Analytics, I've never looked back. It's a very powerful tool, and you need to, if you want to be professional, and if you want to improve your profits, and if you want to do this as your main stream of income, you have to be good in analyzing, and you have to know to get to know the best tools out there. Obviously, you can use free tools, and Google Analytics is one of the free tools. I don't want to dive more deep into this, even though there is a lot of more stuff to say and tell. Just something small that I learned a few days ago, not a few days ago, like a few months ago, but it's very cool. So you can add here annotations. So for me, what I have a lot of stores, I have a lot of traffic, and I don't really remember. Sometimes I go back to the data from a year ago, and I see a spike in performance or a dip in performance, and I start analyzing and try to figure out why this happened. And then I noticed this small feature in Google Analytics, in which what you can do here, you can write annotations, and you can write yourself like small notes in which you can take a look. When you look in hindsight and you look like a year ago, you can see the note, and then you can understand why there was a dip in traffic or why there was a spike in traffic. So for example, if I do a split test, so I'm going to write split test. I have already the date, obviously. So H0 was red button, H1 blue button, product page X. So what I did here, I wrote to myself a note that in this day I started a split test between the red button and the blue button in a product page, let's say in the posture corrector page, posture corrector. So obviously you say, why do I need this if I remember? But if you take a look way back and you try to analyze, you're not going to remember every test, every change that you made. So this is why, if you want to be professional, you should write annotations for everything. Posture, doesn't mind posture corrector, you get the idea. And then you save this. And then, let's say you analyze the traffic for a year ago, you can see all the changes that you made. And you can realize, okay, here the spike was because I decided to test Pinterest ad, and Pinterest traffic, you get a lot of traffic from Pinterest, but the conversion rates are going to be low. So suddenly you see a dip in conversion rates and you don't understand why, and then you realize because of the annotations that it's because you started testing Pinterest ads. So the annotations tool is very powerful and you should check this out. What else? I think that's it, guys. That's it for today. I encourage you to start playing around with Google Analytics. What you can do, you can use this demo account in order to play with Google Analytics, because you have here a lot of data, and then you can really get to know the platform. Or you can make sure that you have Google Analytics implemented correctly in your website and start using and analyzing Google Analytics. And start using and analyzing your website using Google Analytics. We've created a very cool ebook about the basics of Google Analytics. This ebook is for beginners. It's not going to give you like crazy tricks and tips for advanced analytics or stuff like that, but it's going to give you the foundation, the understanding of how of the sections in Google Analytics. How does Google Analytics work? Just the basics. So I'm going to leave the link for this ebook in the comment section below. That's it, guys. Google Analytics, an awesome tool, an awesome free tool that you should start using if you consider yourself a marketer or if you want to take this stuff seriously. If you have any questions, just leave them below. I'd be glad to help and clarify whatever wasn't clear enough. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.